All hail a beard, it's your boy Big Beard B, and we back for another edition of Big Beard Business. With an increasing amount of fragrance and beauty brands trying to find their way within the fragrance or scent industry, we see an increased amount of unisex fragrances hitting the market, which is really good for business as it helps control the conversation in terms of inclusion and removing the gender from fragrance altogether. That's one of the conversations that I see out there on Instagram a lot. I was recently having a conversation with someone on Snapchat, and they're like, yo, B, I picked up Mula Mula. I like it, but it's a little bit too feminine for me, and I think that's understandable. So today I'm here with 10 undeniably masculine fragrances for men that you should try. Now, these fragrances will not be in any particular order, but I did just go over some fragrances that I thought were, manly men scents. So if you enjoy these fragrances, I would love to hear about it down below. Or if you have alternative fragrances that you think some of us should try out, obviously comment that down below as well. Now let's get down to Big Beard business. Now, the first fragrance on this list is one that really took me a while to begin to enjoy. I was one of those people who was resistant to the fragrance, but all in all, it's not a bad scent. This one is a woody, citrusy scent that it smells like a barbershop, and this one is At the Barbers from Maison Margiela. Now, there's nothing more manly than being at the barbershop, okay? So this is a cool way to kick off this list. If you're familiar with Maison Margiela fragrances, then you know they have some bangers within their lineup, but a lot of them are unisex fragrances. Obviously, some of the newer ones, even Springtime in the Park, Pink Juice, but that one is a unisex scent that has this floral nuance to it. But this one here is made for the men out there to really recall one of the more masculine times within your life, which is being inside the barber shop. There's a lot of good conversations that come on there that is men-to-men conversations, and this fragrance here will help remind you of that. At the Barbers is an earthy, woody scent that has some bergamot and black pepper. Also comes off very clean. One you should try out if you're looking for a masculine scent, and this one is relatively easy to find. At the Barbers from Maison Margiela. Like the first fragrance on this list, this next one also took me some time to come around to. The name in itself just screams that this one is for a man. This one comes from Shade in Blue, and this one is Kingswood. Now, Kingswood is this different fragrance. If you're familiar with some of the standout fragrances from that house, whether it's Salt and Caramel, which is a nice, sweet, unisex gourmand. You also have Black Tulip, also a nice unisex fragrance, and most of their fragrances are unisex. I think the first time I introduced this channel to their fragrances, we talked about them being unisex, but this one takes a different approach. As far as your notes go for this fragrance, you have leather, you have pineapple, you have fern, and obviously the pineapple note is something that some of you may think ties back to Aventus, but this one is nothing anywhere in the same stratosphere as Aventus in terms of that pineapple note. So this one is a more dark fragrance. This one has obviously some earthy tones to it with the note breakdown, and it's one that if you enjoy a fragrance that is not run-of-the-mill, it's not going to be something that is going to be like super mass appealing like you would find inside of a Macy's or a Dillard's, then this is a good one for you to try out. I think one of the things that comes along with this fragrance that makes it that much better is the fact that they've kind of removed all of the troubles that you get with natural based fragrances. So this one is cruelty free. This is a vegan fragrance, and some of the trouble that you have with fragrances that take that route, you really don't get that with this one. So this one is really a masculine fragrance, so get your nose on it if you know anything about it. I think this is definitely one that you would agree is a masculine scent, and obviously with a name like Kingswood, you better be masculine. Now, the next fragrance is a limited edition fragrance, and what really sparked the conversation for this video is a fragrance from this house. And the house that I'm talking about is Byron Parfums. And one of the fragrances, or the fragrance we were talking about, and really in our conversation, was one of my personal favorites. Well, it is my favorite from the house, which is Mula Mula. He's like, yo, B, I grabbed it. It's a nice fragrance, but it's a little bit too feminine for me. And I could get that. I could understand that depending on your personality. But this next one, no. No, no, no. This one is a manly scent through and through. This one has a name that allows you to rest assured that this one will suit all of your testosterone-driven needs. And this one is from Byron Parfums, obviously, and this one is Byron Man. Okay, now Byron Man is a limited edition fragrance, so I'm not sure if it's super readily available. I will leave it linked down below for you to check out. But this one is a parfum extract fragrance, and it really is powerful. This one did take some time for me to warm up to, as well as it has some notes in this one that are not really different, but they're utilized in a different way. One word to describe this fragrance I would say is animalic. This one has this fresh spiciness to it. Also, you have some floral notes in here, but this one doesn't lean feminine at all. If you're looking for a different take from Byron, if you're a fan of what he's released thus far when it comes to Mula Mula, Dot 9, Pirates, The Chronic, Oud Bourbon, the list goes on. This one here is definitely one that you should try out for that different approach and different feel. Byron Parfums, Byron Man. Now, when I think of successful men out there, this next fragrance often comes to mind for me, as this one is this classic, refined, mature, but it's also young enough for a guy like me in my 20s, when I was young 20s, wearing this fragrance. This is definitely one that you can rock like a boss, and eventually you will be one. This one comes from Creed, and this one is not what you're thinking. This one is Creed's Green Irish Tweed. Now, Green Irish Tweed is this nice, fresh, clean fragrance, and I've talked about this before, talking about it smells like you're rolling down an Irish hill because that's what it does, man. This freshness in this fragrance is really unmatched when it comes to Creed fragrances. Obviously, they do an amazing job with that, but this one here to me just really is next level, and this one is masculine through and through. I know a lot of successful men that I know in my day-to-day who have decided to make this one their signature scent, whether it comes to how this fragrance is presented to you, the way this thing smells, and also just its staying power. All in all, I think this is a solid scent for a manly fragrance. This one is probably the most popular fragrance on the list today, so you've probably heard about this one if you're just not a newbie. Like my youngest son would say, you're a noob. But even if so, you probably heard of this fragrance, or at least seen it somewhere. There you have it, man. Creed's Green Irish Tweed is a phenomenal, masculine, attention-grabbing scent that you should definitely try. Now, this next fragrance brings us to our halfway point on the list. And like Creed, this one does come from a popular fragrance house, but the fragrance in itself doesn't get a ton of pop culture references, okay? But this fragrance does smell really nice, and it's undeniably masculine. When I mention it, you're like, oh yeah, I know what you're saying, B. In addition to some solid notes, this one has a more pungent note, which really takes it to that masculine side. This one comes from Bar number 9, and this one is Bar number 9's New York Oud. Now, New York Oud is a strong scent, and the oud in this fragrance is prominent, but it's not super off-putting, I'll put it that way. If you have to wear this fragrance, I would urge you to go light on sprays, 2-3 max on this one, because this one does have some solid beastly performance. This one has this syrupy oud type of feel. This one is definitely earthy for sure, and definitely, in my opinion, one of the better oud fragrances out there as it comes to fragrances that you can wear with oud in them. I think I did a video on that not too long ago. If I can find it, I'll leave a link down below, or you can just search it, most wearable ouds or something of that nature. So New York Oud, I think I have a full review on this one. If not, this is what I need to get one on. I have to double check that, because this fragrance is really, really solid. I didn't get to wear it as much as I would want to in Florida, because obviously this one is a super pungent, I almost call it pungent, it's strong, all right? This thing is definitely strong, and I know I say wear what you want when you want to, but it's probably not the best time for me to wear this often. They're really limited range of dates, maybe 2-3 weeks tops, that I had the full ability to wear this fragrance. So one that I think a lot of you out there will enjoy, especially when it comes to looking for a masculine scent, as I know all of you out there are if you're watching this video. So Bar number 9's New York Oud. This next one is one that is the newest fragrance on this list, as it came out in 2020, but it's a flanker on a fragrance that has been around for a while. This one is this more modern, sophisticated, gentlemanly take on a fragrance that is sophisticated and gentlemanly, and this fragrance comes from Cartier, and this one is Cartier Pasta Parfum. Now, Pasta Parfum is this fougere fragrance, has this woody facet to it, and it also has some amber and wood notes in it that really give it some additional warmth. So if you were a fan of the Cartier fragrances, then you already understand like where they fall, okay? So this one is not a brand for, in my personal opinion, they don't have a lot of fragrances that's really do well for the younger crowd. There are a few, but not the bulk of their fragrances. If you look at what they target in terms of their original products or just their day-to-day products before they got into this side of the things, then you know, you really targeted someone with money, right? So if you look at a Cartier pin that's going to be $700 and up, you might be able to find one for $5, but it's not like a cheap way, and their clothing isn't cheap either. So their fragrances should not have a cheap feel. This is probably going to be your cheapest way into a Cartier product, but it's a good one to wear if you're looking for a masculine scent. Overall, Cartier fragrances really stand that test of time of being classic fragrances that you could wear dressed up, and again, you have a few that you can dress down. So if that's your type of vibe, you can definitely pull this thing off. 2020 release, Cartier Pasta 2020 Parfum. Now, this next fragrance on the list today is one that I really talked about more so in its first impressions. I don't think I've revisited this fragrance since then, but this is one of my favorites from the house thus far. This one does a lot of things right. This one is seductive. It's slightly complex, and it also has some familiarity to it. So definitely a fragrance that I'm going to tell you to get your nose on, but I think a lot of you have already done so because it's been selling out. This one comes from Navitus Parfums, and this one is Absolutio. Now, I've talked about this one, I think once in the unboxing of these fragrances, and I talked about how this one has this spicy cinnamon type of feel, and it also has this gourmand aspect to it, and there's also some cherry in this thing that really just come off well. Now, I think they list this one for men and women, but I definitely feel like if you're rocking this as a man, you know, you dressed accordingly, this thing is going to come off as an undeniably attention-grabbing masculine scent. There are a lot of notes in this fragrance here, and I think this is, again, like I said, one of the better ones from the line, at least the ones that I enjoy. I talk about Intimus a lot. I also talked about Lautus, but this one here is one you should try for sure. So if you're looking for a fragrance, again, like the others on this list, that is going to be undeniably masculine, going to be attention-grabbing, and also garner you some compliments, this is definitely one to check out. Absolutio from Navitus. Wood, smoke, leather, and a elegant take on iris is everything you need to really know about this next fragrance that's on the list today. This one comes from a fragrance house that I've been diving deeper and deeper into, swimming across the waves here, and this one is Olfactive Studios Leather Shot. Okay, now by the name in itself, that leather there may lean you to think that this one is a masculine scent. Again, I said this one is woody, it's spicy, and it also has that leather in this fragrance that really comes off well. You can really see that the leather is really carried through in terms of the bottle. Now, this one is an extract de parfum because you have this on it, right? The other ones have this black label here, and those are eau de parfum fragrances. So this one is a bit strong, a bit more potent, and again, this one is a masculine scent in my humble opinion. This is one that I grabbed specifically for that, as this one brought a different approach to leather fragrances within my collection, as I really looked at some of the ones that are leather dominant. Obviously you have ombre leather, you have Tuscan leather. Those two are really close to each other. One of the other more popular ones out there is Gold Dolphin. That's actually close to those as well. And I wanted to bring something a bit different to the mix, and this is one that I selected. Some of your other notes in this one are gonna be black tea, you have cardamom, you have cumin, and just, again, this is a nice scent. So try this one out, sample it, purchase a full bottle, whatever you need to do. If you're looking for a masculine scent, here is one for you. All right, Leather Shot from Olfactive Studio. Now, this next fragrance is one that had to make the list simply because of its backstory. Now, the fragrance in itself smells nice, but if you're looking for a masculine fragrance, then this one definitely has it for you. They said that this fragrance here, which is Roaring Radcliffe from the House of Penhaligon's, is made for those men out there who are sexy and modern. Those guys out there who indulge in fast cars and even faster women. Yes, I cannot make this up, but this thing here smells like something a man of that stature should be wearing. This one's tobacco, it has some smoke in it, and it really settles on the skin well. This one isn't really talked about a ton, at least I know I haven't talked about it a ton, but the bottles on these things are really cool. I have talked about that before in terms of some of the others that I have in my collection, but this one is for the lion. Those who are out there ready to attack the day. So if you are a man, a man's man, and you're out there ready to attack the day, then this is definitely one that you should try. Roaring Radcliffe from the House of Penhaligon. All right, fellas, we are down to the final fragrance on today's list, and this one comes from a company that we all love, at least most of us. And this one is from Undeniably, and this one is Nicia. Now, this one does not get a ton of love. This wasn't like, when you think of Undeniably, a lot of the fragrances that get the love are going to be your Leighton, your Harrods, you know, your Pegasus, etc. This one kind of plays in the backside, but if you're looking for a masculine fragrance, this is definitely one that you could reach for. This one is woods, this one is leather, it has a seductive feel to it, and it also has that classic, what I like to call classic, Undeniably DNA, so you're also going to have that depth and dimension within your fragrance as well. This one is listed as a floral fragrance, so you have that rose and geranium here, but you also, for me, I get some more of those other notes. So you get the pink pepper, you get the pepper, you also get that wood, and you get the leather in this fragrance a lot. So it's one that I really feel is a masculine scent. It's on the more expensive side of the house as it comes to the Undeniably fragrances, but it's one that I think is really enjoyable. So if you're looking for a fragrance that's going to be masculine, you can check this one out, or any of the other 9 fragrances on today's list. If you have others in mind, I would love to hear about them. Comment down below and let me know about them. As always, I'm your boy, Big B. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell a friend that we are back again. Put your mans on with this video and tell them to hit the goddamn bell.